Einen wunderschönen guten Tag. Ich habe den Michael Gallet neben mir zu sitzen von FxBricks. So, und mal ganz kurz der Hinweis, ich habe hier extra es eingeblendet da oben. Wir sprechen heute über ein Produkt und das wollen wir euch gerne vorführen, weil ich finde das eigentlich eine ganz spannende Sache. Michael, nice to having you.
Hello, wie geht's?
I'm completely fine. Very chilled. Michael, you are the founder of FxBricks.
Yes, I'm the president CEO of FxBricks and the co-founder. FxBricks started in 2017 by myself and Jason Alleman, also known as JK Brickworks. So we started the company in the end of 2016. We launched a Kickstarter to launch the PFX brick, and we've grown from there.
Pretty far, I think.
Yeah. So yeah, we're based in Canada, in Ottawa, Canada, but we have a studio in Hong Kong as well, because a lot of our product development involves coordinating companies and manufacturing partners in mainland China, and so Hong Kong is a perfect place in which to sort of coordinate that activity, and our folks there can check products as they arrive, check for quality. It's where we do our retail packaging and our onward distribution to North America, to the European Union. So,
you making 9-volt rail tracks. Where comes the idea for it?
Well, I'm a train guy, so I love trains. And before I started doing Lego trains, I used to do the traditional scale model trains. And all of those systems use metal track. That's how they're powered. That's how they're controlled. And so when I became a Lego train guy in about 2012, the Lego metal track 9-volt system had ended in 2006. And so to me, it was a bit unusual having plastic tracks. I wasn't used to this concept of powering the trains through batteries. I was used to having metal tracks to power the trains. And so when I joined the hobby, I started buying a lot of old 9-volt track, but I realized that this is not sustainable. The world's going to run out at some point. Everyone's going to buy the used market of 9-volt tracks. So, is there an opportunity to bring it back? Now, I know there have been a few companies who have tried to sort of bring it back, and it's with different levels of success, but it's an expensive product to develop and to release. So, there was a sort of a lucky meeting of minds, of people with the same ambition, and we kind of got together and started this project to not only develop sort of these metal tracks, and this is one of our first products, which is a long straight element, but a whole system, a whole family of model train components for Lego train fans, and that was the goal. So it's not just the track. This is a long-term plan. It's at least a 10-year plan with a family of products, not only for the tracks, but for motors, for control systems, accessories. There's so much more to come.
So you are still in development to round up all the product.
Yeah, it's really, you can think of it as there's so much great technology that already exists in the model train world. If you go to a model train show anywhere in the world, you see all this great tech, with locomotives with sound and all these remote controlled accessories, but that tech is not available for Lego train fans. And so we thought, that's what we want to do. We want to sort of bring the magic of all this great, durable, reliable, cool technology to Lego train fans, so they can start improving their layouts and adding these amazing remote control accessories and making more reliable, more powerful control of locomotives and trains, pull longer trains, heavier trains. And so that's the goal, is to just, blend the best of both worlds. Because the Lego train hobby is very special because it's made out of Lego. It allows you to
you have 90 years with different styles. I mean, we have 4.5 volt, we have 12 volt, we have 9 volt. We have power functions, powered up. what else next to come, I don't know. But they evolving in the years, and most of the adult Lego fans are raised in the 9-volt era, and missing these parts very hard. For me personally, it is. As a child, I always wanted to have a Lego train, a 9-volt train. My neighbor had one, so I played with them and with this train all the time. But I personally never got one. So as I become an AFOL in 2014 again, uh, I bought I bought all the power function trains I could found. So it's a compensation, you know.
Well, I think your story is a familiar one. I think there are a lot of newcomers to the hobby, or to the or their AFOLs who are discovering trains for the first time, um, and their only way to sort of get involved with the hobby is to buy the train set that's available at the time. Uh, they then discover there was this thing called 9-volt and 12-volt and all these other different eras in the Lego train system, and I can definitely see how some folks will look at the metal track and say, "Gosh, I wish that was still available," because there were a lot of.
But I'm a Lego fan who adapt very fast and try to see the difference between them, because 9-volt is great because you don't need batteries all the time, but you have to look where the current is going. You can switch tracks and nothing goes anywhere. Power functions was great, but had the AR, AR, who was not very responsive. Now we have powered up with Bluetooth, who is very expensive. Why, I don't know, but Lego wants the price they want. So, well, let us talk about your products. You had on this exhibition today. Show us what we've got here.
Well, one of the reasons we came to this show, of course, was there's amazing, Lego train layouts, but it's also all the people here. There's a lot of some of the best, Lego train builders that I know of, and meeting some of my own heroes and Lego train builders. And so this is the perfect place to showcase some of our new products. So we took the opportunity to bring a demo layout here and to sort of showcase some of the new products, certainly ones that people have been waiting for. So one of the first things that people have been very excited about is a new 9-volt track switch. So this is a injection molded, 9-volt compatible track switch, and this is one of our latest pre-production versions. And we brought 10 of them with us to the show, and we're just letting we've integrated into the layout, and this has been a great opportunity to road test these switches. They've had big, heavy trains cross them, all day long, and I can think of no better test of your product than to,
of course, yeah,
than to have 2-kilo coaches pounding the tracks, all the time. It's a win-win for both of us, because we get to show fans our products, but we get to road test them and get some feedback from fans about the things they like, things they don't like, and so far the reception has been quite positive.
But by feeling, they are double the size a normal Switch would. I'm sorry, a Lego Switch would have. Normal is relative, but it's double the size, right?
It's not quite double. So if you so this is 40 studs long. So from this end to this end is 40 studs. A Lego Switch is 32 studs long. This long. So we're 8 studs longer than the Lego 9-volt and Lego Power Function Switch. But we're actually a bit narrower. So the Lego standard switch actually comes out a little bit wider. They have different geometries. So in terms of the amount of plastic, it's about the same, but the geometry is very different. So it does look bigger, certainly because of the long profile. But it's in terms of the plastic volume, it's about the same, but the geometries are very different.
Let us see some comments. Question: any new about 9-volt motor tie frame? Tie frame. This is okay. So this is a product you brought in for the exhibition. And I saw you have 3 of them disassembled on your track. What's with it about?
Okay, so it doesn't make sense for us to make metal track unless we're going to make something to put on the metal track. So motors obviously is a very key product for us, and we've been very busy developing a totally new motor drive system that's completely different internally. Form factor wise, we wanted to make it look exactly like, and as a replacement to not only the older Lego 9-volt motors, but also the power functions train motors, powered up train motors, same form factor. It's but
So this is the prototype.
that's right. So this is a functional prototype, and we just to show people how it looks. But there are a few innovations we've made. So one of the key, yes, of course, yeah.
Prototype 9-volt motor.
So one of the key innovations is that we made the top removable. So you can take off the top. It's just a standard bogey plate. There are a few reasons to do this. Number one is if you have a regular train motor and the pin breaks, what are you going to do? So now, if the pin breaks, you just replace the bogey plate.
It's I never thought of it because I don't have a 9-volt train, but now you said it's yeah, sure. What do you do?
That's right. And now you've got these studs here. You can do other things. So you can put a turntable plate here, so you can swivel that way, or you can brick build the motor into a small train or a tender or that kind of thing. So it gives AFOLs more options to build locomotives and rolling stock using this motor. Internally, completely different than any sort of Lego. The only comparable one, I suppose, would be the old Lego 12-volt motors. So it's a completely mechanical enclosure, metal axles, metal bearings, metal gears, a 12-volt high-power motor. So this has much more power and torque than any of the existing Lego motor drives. We use all metal machined, precision machine metal wheels. They're shown here in brass, but they'll be chemically blackened, and they'll be black in appearance in the final product. And a few other extra options and features electrically. So for example, there are 2 9-volt connectors on the top of the motor. One of them is connected to the power pickups, and the other is connected to the motor terminals. You can jumper them together so it works like a regular 9-volt train motor, or you can isolate them and say use an S-brick or a PFX brick or a powered up hub and take power from the track to power up the external controller, and then take the motor control back to this motor so it can be controlled in different ways. So we're looking to offer hybrid kind of drive options for train fans. They can operate it like a regular track-controlled 9-volt motor, or sort of an IR Bluetooth controlled.
We would say ein Alleskönner, an all-rounder for everything. But let me get it straight. You thought you can have 2 motors together and they are synchronized?
You could do that too. So because you have one of these connectors connected directly to the motor terminals, you can then have a cable assembly to another motor connected to the same terminal, and now the motors are locked together. They're electrically, and so you
Clever.
Yeah, so you could have a controller that controls the pair of motors together as a common drive. Similarly, you can connect the power pickups between the 2 motors together. So then you have all wheels picking up the same power, and so you have more reliable power pickup from the track. So, and this is all part of our goal to sort of bring back the 9-volt electrical connector, and it's also the basis of other, our new electrical control system and accessories, all using the new our new version of the previous Lego 9-volt electrical connector.
Let's stay for a second with the motor. You said this is a prototype for the exhibition. Do you have any idea when the product will be released?
As soon as we can. We think next year we'll be able to release it. What we don't have a lot of control in terms of the scheduling of manufacturing. We depend on many different manufacturing partners. There are manufacturers who do our injection molding, the metal components manufacturing, final assembly, many different companies based in China. There have been lockdown provisions. There are logistics challenges. There are material shortages. These are all affecting our development schedule. And so it's impossible for us to give to have a hard kind of deadline. All we keep doing is minimizing the schedule as much as possible.
But I'm sure that we have at the time very much trouble on the world and with manufacturing, of course. I know it by myself. But you as FxBricks are ready.
We are. We have a pipeline of design of CAD files and in a pipeline ready to go. And it's a matter of scheduling that manufacturing time, finding out when they can do a production run. Okay, we need another 1,000 of these units. We need 3,000 of these. When can you have them ready? This manufacturer will need you to provide these components by this date. It's a very complex problem. But all we can do is do our best to react in real time to what's available and what we can do. We have done things like, for example, this is our new sort of power controller. We've had to change the electronic component selection on this 3 times because of chip shortages, and we've just actually put the electronics into volume production just recently. That's kind of the reality of, the world we're in now. This was going to be a USB-C powered device, but USB-C power controllers were 72-week lead time. So now we have 72-week lead times. Some microcontrollers were 52-week lead times. Some capacitors were, had ridiculous lead times. So we kind of got all old school on this. Lots of analog, transistors, discrete logic, but in a way, this has made it a more reliable product, one that's more immune to component shortages, and something that will probably work 50 years from now. So,
hopefully.
So it's kind of a silver lining, that we've been forced to redesign it in a more old school way, yet retain all sort of the features we wanted.
So this is a prototype of your multifunction travel.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes. What you guys call a trafo. Yes. The speed regulator, speed controller. Yes.
Speed controller, yeah, because I see it on the button, 9-volt, 12-volt, emergency stop, left turn.
Kind of a special low gear, high torque mode. It's a special. It's almost like turbo boost, or kind of like a low gear range in your 4x4 to give you a bit of extra torque.
Sounds interesting.
Yeah. In fact, some guys were trying it out during some of the pull Olympics here, where they were trying to pull a heavy load.
Did it work?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's another special extra turbo boost. Of course, you can switch from 9-volt to 12-volt mode and get an extra power boost too. 12 volts is perfectly safe to operate your 9-volt motors as long as you're not operating them continuously. So that gives you a bit of an extra boost.
So this is your product, of course, and this is your product too. So I could buy your motors and drive them with 12 volt constantly.
Yes, absolutely. Our motor is designed to work. It's rated. The motor has been specially specified by us to our motor suppliers for 12 volts nominal operation. It will work on 9 volts or 12 volts. I mean, the voltage really controls the top speed, but we have rated it for 12 volts for extra power.
So let us talk about this controller again. I see there are, you said your new connection system is compatible with power functions, the Lego ones?
The Lego 9-volt connector. So in fact, it's kind of funny. This is the first one I've seen of our own connector. We just received them before we came to the show. So this is actually a prototype of our new 9-volt connector. So yeah, so that no one has seen these.
Okay, it's a little bit blurry, but your 9-volt connector.
Yeah, so it's like the Lego 9-volt connector. It's a 2x2. It looks like a 2x2 plate, and it has conductive studs. And and then a space where the wire can come out. Ours is functionally the same as the Lego 9-volt connector, but we've made a few, internally it's quite different. It's engineered very differently. We made a few innovations to the design of compared to the Lego connector. For example, there's a printed circuit board inside here that allows us to conveniently dress out the wires, but it gives us the option to add electronic components inside the connectors. So for example, we could put an LED in there and turn it into a light brick. We could put other electronic components on here to sort of make sort of stud or brick attachable.
Sounds quite interesting, because with an extra LED you could easily see if there a current in this brick or not.
That's right, exactly. You could use it as an indicator, yes, to show, yeah, absolutely. And then we can use this element, of course, to make cable assemblies, to make connectors on control equipment or accessories. So it's a sort of a very key product that we had to engineer, but we felt this was the way to go. And the other thing we want to do too is we want to make this available to other third parties and OEMs to build their own products on top of this connector design. So we are very open to the concept of licensing this connector so that other companies or even AFOLs, if they want, to build their own accessories using this kind of connector, so they can make sort of stud compatible, system compatible electrical accessories.
And you said the technology inside is evolved. It sounds great with an LED, I think. So and that you could change the cables. But I lost it. But will it be available with the power function system?
Not with because the shape of the power functions connector is a bit different. So there are the two studs, and then it has this special rectangular shaped channel, which is where the electrical connection is made. So it's a different shape than this. But the Lego Power Functions extension wire products, there's two of the two lengths, has the Power Functions connector on one side, but it has a 9-volt compatible connection on the other side. So you could use the Lego Power Functions extension wire with, say, this or any one of our 9-volt compatible accessories and connect it to Power Functions. So, for example, if you had a Power Functions motor, you could connect it to this trafo or this speed regulator using a Lego Power Functions extension wire. So you'd connect the light bluish gray connector here, and then the dark bluish gray connector would attach to the motor. So for GBC people and those folks who use 9-volt regulators, they'd be able to easily control their 9-volt motors using this device.
Sounds great. Any idea when it will be released?
Well, this theoretically will have a shorter release schedule because we've just actually sent the electronics for volume manufacturing, so we're probably getting at least 1,000 made. We still have more work to do on the mold. What you see here is obviously it's a
3D printing
print, but we use these obviously to test the fit and the alignment and make sure it's perfect before we commit to making a mold. But this will be plastic injection molded, so that still has to be done. But we imagine that the release schedule for this will probably coincide with the motor and our new track feeders and our new Power Functions, 9-volt compatible wires. They'll all come out together because that kind of makes sense. You're very likely going to want all 3 items at the same time. So, and so I would say that next year is really our target for getting these in, making them actually available in the shop for people to buy. But if we can get it sooner, we will.
Of course. Where do I can buy these products? I know, of course, you have a website, but I know we have in Germany one exclusive partner, right?
That's correct. So we have our web shop at FxBricks.com, and we sell typically to North America to that, but we also sell to Asia Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, because from our Hong Kong office we can do distribution there. But for the European Union, JB Spielwaren has been our partner, and they've been fantastic to work with, and they offer fixed flat rate shipping all over the EU, so it's very convenient. Of course, because the goods are in their shop, Europeans don't have to worry about imports or taxes or anything. It's just like they're buying a local product. So yeah, JB Spielbahn is our partner for.
And how many of the new products are planned? Do you think you will have problems to delivery in the first week on the release, or do you have planned? Well, we made 5 million motors. That's enough for the whole world.
Yeah, well, usually getting to the first batch of production is the most difficult stage. And usually what we do is we open pre-orders when we've committed the production. That is, we've paid the money to do the full production run, and we've got a hard commitment, contractually, obliged to have the goods made and delivered. We open it for pre-order, and then it comes usually within 2 to 3 months after opening pre-order. If we run out of stock, which does happen, we just schedule another production run. And that's easier to do because all the tooling's available, and it's just a matter of slotting in another production run. And then we usually keep some reserve inventory in Hong Kong just in case. I know that JB Spielbahn have sold out of a few of our products a couple of times, but we usually have a reserve inventory that we can send to them, in that circumstance. And we've had some Europeans buy from our Canadian shop if they're really desperate and they want to get it right away. They can do that too. So yeah, we do the best to keep up with demand as and when necessary. But in general, we can continue to manufacture more product as and when necessary. So it runs out, we just make more. Simple as that.
So are these new products or the new prototypes available for pre-order right now?
Not yet, but we do anticipate making this Switch available for pre-order probably this fall, in the autumn timeframe. And not just the Switch, there'll be 2 new straight elements, possibly 2 new curve elements will also be available. So there'll be 6 new products potentially available for pre-order this fall. I know a lot of people, want it yesterday, but if you really look at our track record, we've launched 6 products just in the last year alone, and we've got at least another 6 coming this year. And our release schedule is pretty aggressive, considering how small a company we are and considering the challenging world circumstances we're operating under. We're doing our best, and we want our own product too. So it's
of course, who didn't? So let us look if we have some questions. Model training meet building bricks. Model railroading meets building bricks. Sounds interesting. Okay. 9-volt motor frame. Okay. Will there be some kind of power supply available? Yes, it will be. It's probably looks like that. Okay, I just wanted to ask, what about a battery box? But you don't need it.
No, exactly. We want to avoid the use of batteries, but
yeah. All those supply chain problems are a mess, but it's good to know all prototypes are ready for production. Yeah, Beowulf is very happy about it that you are ready. I wish you good luck with the new products and especially with the production and the availability. Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. And we are having such a great time here, and part of the reason why we're here is because seeing is believing, and what better way to sort of build confidence for people who want our products that is to actually show them. So and we get so much great feedback. Some of our products, some of the design features in our products have been they are the way they are because we've gotten great suggestions. So that's another reason we come to these shows, just to talk to our users directly. And
one question.
Yes.
One question about your Switch. Thank you. It has these switch over here with holes in it, and I saw you have automatically switches over there.
Uh, we don't have the automation of the switches yet, so we've designed our switch to be controlled any way you like, because we know that train builders will have their favorite way of controlling switches and imparting automation. So there are many different ways of electrically or mechanically, actuating the switch. We do plan on having a range of train accessories, including remote operation of switches, but that will be sort of more down the road. Right now the priority is to get these basic core products available, and then to expand the accessory system, including the remote operation of the switch.
So will be there if I buy this in a package? Will be there at least a mechanical switch?
No, it'll just be as you see it here, and it's just kind of like a minimalist design philosophy, and it's really, this is no different than a model train switch. You just have a switch bar, and we've put two Technic holes on each side, so you can choose to actuate it from either side, and this gives sort of the maximum kind of flexibility in terms of how you want to control the switch. So if it's just you want to use it manually with your fingers, you can do that. Or if you want to build a motor controlled or electromagnetic controlled, or using, say, Technic axles and a lever frame, or there are different ways you can do it. And so we'll just leave it generic and let people switch it how they want. And of course, whatever switch accessory we have, of course, will mate, natively with this technical tech.
Yeah, and one thing I've heard from the other exhibitioners, they are very strong. Normally, if the track is not correctly, nor the Lego train would. No, with your track it's derailing because it's so strong and it's so locked. But I mean, I like it the way it is, because you have to look what your switch is, but it's not designed for yeah, how I say it.
I know, and if there's been one topic that's been controversial, it's that choice.
All right,
And this is
but it is a choice.
It is a choice, and that's how we want it. And the reason, yes, the switch, this spring tension is a bit tight, and we actually want to reduce that a bit. But that's one of the fine tune. That's why we make these things in pre-production, to test these kind of features. But the principle of locking each position is an important one, and obviously real train switches do that, but a lot of model train switches also do the same thing. They lock each position, each route. What does a switch do? It provides guidance for wheels, for a train, to make sure it goes on the correct route. If the switch is too loose, then there's the possibility that it can be easily put into the wrong position. It needs to lock the route. That's the way it should work. Yes, if you try to drive against it, you will derail, just like any other real switch.
Yeah, but that's the reason why I said I like it, because it's realistic.
Yeah, that's right. And the other, of course, key difference is there are two switch rails. This is the first Lego track switch to have two switch rails. For whatever reason, the tradition in both Lego and other third-party switches is to have the single switch rail that is kind of elastically retained into one position. But we designed it like a real train switch, which is having two switch rails controlled by a common tie bar and connected to its own closure rail. That's how a real switch works. This provides smoother operation. It reduces the possibility of derailing because you've got better wheel set guidance into the route that you want. It's stable, and because this is a metal track switch, we can the motor can pick up electricity over a longer length of the switch without gaps. So there are fewer gaps by electrifying two switch rails. So there's many reasons why the design of this switch is the way that it is.
I like it. Let me show it to the audience that they can see the two rails and the locking system. I like it.
Thank you.
So, any questions? No. Okay. So, thank you for your time. Was a great pleasure, and yeah, all the best for your product and your production. And thank you for being here.
Vielen Dank.
Bitteschön, bitteschön. So, Freunde, das war Michael. Genau, und wenn ihr Bock habt, schaut mal bei FxBricks.com vorbei. Bricks übrigens wie die normalen Bricks geschrieben, also nicht irgend so ein Blödsinn mit X oder irgend sowas, das hatten wir auch schon. Genau, schaut da mal vorbei, schaut eure neuen Produkte an und wie gesagt, Exklusivpartner für uns in Deutschland ist JB Spielwaren. Könnt ihr da auch mal vorbeischauen. In diesem Sinne, macht's gut und tschüss.